morning and welcome to Unity of Columbia. Thank you for being here this morning. It's great to see you all. And let's give a wave to those who are joining us online today. So we're here today to be reminded of our spiritual self and to be lifted up. Are you ready for an upgrade? Yeah. So there are a few changes going on around here, and you might even notice a few this morning if you're an observant person. Because we are upgrading some of the things we're doing here on Sunday. Well, Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, says that changes are constantly taking place and will continue as long as we live in the yes and the no state of consciousness. So what is he talking about? The yes and the no state? What does that mean? Well, the yes is for a need for change, and there's a lot of tension in change sometimes. You might have noticed that. So the yes is when we see growth and progress, and the no is when we have difficulty shifting with the change. But Charles Fillmore says, to one in spiritual understanding, there is no loss. So are you ready for an upgrade? Wonderful. Well, we have a special guest with us today, the Reverend Eliasa Sabogal. Give her a nice warm welcome, please. And she's here with her partner, Paul, today, so we welcome him as well. And she'll be giving the morning message today, and that'll be followed by a workshop. So if you're not signed up for that, we might be able to squeeze one or two more in to that, but I know it's going to be wonderful. She joins us from the ministerial team in Southeast, Unity in Southeast Kansas City. So we really want to give her a warm welcome. We're looking forward to everything that she shares with us today. So the famous life coach, Tony Robbins, said, by changing nothing, nothing changes. So easy. So are you ready for some changes? All right, please stand and greet each other and say, I'm here for an upgrade.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Heidi Stallman, and I'm your facilitator today. We are grateful for all who contribute to our service today. Welcome, everyone, to Unity of Columbia. Thank you to those of us joining us online, and thank you to those in the sanctuary. We are especially grateful for any newcomers that are here for the first time, and our ushers have a welcome pack for you. Also, if everyone could give their cell phones a moment of meditation and send them off into the silence, we would appreciate that. Today's reading is from Charles Fillmore. If we are not satisfied with the pattern of our life at this point in time, let us examine our ways to see if we can be of more service to those about us. Let's stop worrying about what we are to become and live life to the fullest now. Please join me in affirming our vision, mission, and core values. Our vision is, we celebrate a spiritually awakened world. And our mission is, we inspire the awakening and practice of divine love in every heart. In addition, we celebrate our core values, knowing that we have come here to be spirit-centered and to express the values of love, peace, and connection. And now it's time for our children to gather in front of the sanctuary for our children's moment.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Good morning. Good morning. So today I was thinking about something. I made something to help me talk about what I want to talk about today. Does anyone can you tell what this is? What do you guys think this is?
Like a weaving?
A weaving? It could be a little blanket. Yeah, it's a weaving, just as James said. I'm weaving a little blanket here. And to do this, I need two things really. Well, I guess three, right? I need the thing that I'm going to weave it on, right? This is my loom sort of, right? And then this stuff.
You need the yarn to put on the loom so you can actually weave it, and then you need the yarn to weave.
Right. So you're saying I need these strings,
Yeah.
right? And I need this stuff here. Right. So
Practiced doing weaving in art class one time.
you practice this in art class? Yeah, it's a really fun thing. So this is called the warp, okay? And these are called the weft, the stuff that fills it in. And do you think we could make a blanket or a piece of fabric like this if we didn't have the warp?
No.
Probably not.
Because then what are you weaving? Like you're just going.
It would just be
like
it would just be loose yarn.
Putting yarn like, and that will not.
And it wouldn't do anything. It would just be a string. It would just be a string, right? But do you really see, when we put it all together, do you end up really seeing the warp?
Not really.
Okay, hang on. Yeah, you don't really end up seeing this.
Most of the time you'll take, when you take the entire weave off, sometimes people take the warp off too instead of going through all the trouble of getting the warp off of the blanket.
Well, these strings are going to stay here, but you kind of don't see them. They're kind of going to disappear because I'm going to add more and more of my weft, of my yarn, and then I'm going to have a blanket. I'm going to have something I can use, or something I could wear, or something like that. Mm-hmm.
Who can fit that blanket? Like
Who's going to fit this blanket? Well, this is kind of just for show and tell. This could maybe be for a small doll, or it's for a mermaid. It's for a mermaid. It's for a mermaid. So now we've got that covered. So the thing is that we need this, and this is our structure, and it helps make the blanket. There are some things in our own life that we might not see every day, may be harder to see, but they're important to making the fabric of our life, the fabric of our reality. What are some things you think that maybe you don't see in your life that are essential, like you could not go on without them? Yeah? Air. That's a good one, yeah.
things that you can't see, you said?
Well, things that are harder to see. It's like things that are, but do you want to just sit up here? This looks uncomfortable. One sec. Here we go. More comfortable. They're things that you don't notice all the time.
sort of, like brushing your teeth. You would not want to not brush your teeth, right? If you didn't brush your teeth ever, what might happen to your teeth?
They'll fall out.
They'd be dirty. They'd fall out. And who here likes their teeth?
I do.
You like your teeth? That's great. I like my teeth too. They help me do a lot of things like chew up my food, which I really appreciate, and all sorts of those kinds of things. But if we don't wash them and take care of them every day, they could fall out. They could get a cavity.
Save you money because my grandpa, after he lost his teeth, he had to buy dentures. So having your teeth saves you money.
True, having your teeth does save you some money. You're right. So these are things that we don't notice all the time that are really, really important to our life. That's these threads here. So I just wanted to spend some time to think about all of those things that are really important to us that we don't think about all the time, like brushing your teeth, even going to bed on time. Like that can really set our day up in a right way. If we go to bed on time, I wake up, I feel refreshed, I know I've gotten all the rest that I need, and I'm ready to take on the day. Okay, so our affirmation for today is, I weave the things I want and the things I need together. Okay, so we'll say that together. I weave the things I want and the things I need together. And we'll bless our children. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
As Rev Ann announced, today there is a workshop with our guest minister, Rev Eliasa Sabogal, and it begins at 11:15 in the living room, and lunch is provided for that workshop. The Bell Choir will be performing on Sundays during Advent this year. Rehearsals are being held on Wednesdays from 6:30 to 7:30, beginning on October 16th. So if you'd like to be part of that group, please let us know as soon as possible. And there is a requirement that you can read music to be in that group. The old Facebook page will soon be closed, so if you haven't moved to the new page yet, now's the time to do it. Go to Unity of Columbia, Missouri, or click the link in our e-letter or on the website to like, follow, and share on our new Facebook page. Would you like to read the daily word in our services on Sundays? We're making a roster, and you can sign up in the foyer. And Reverend Ann.
Just a quick announcement today to let you know that Susie Miller's husband has passed away this week, so we hold her in prayer, and we see him passing in the light, and hold all of the family for ease and grace as they move through this difficult time. Thank you. And Pat, where is Pat? Pat is going to read the daily word for us today.
The word for today, Sunday, September 29th, is comforted. I am comforted by the divine presence within me. I am grateful for the people who have understood how to comfort me when I was feeling down. They listened when I needed to talk and blessed me with their kindness. Often, they didn't need to say a word or do anything more than be with me for a while. Their understanding presence was what I really needed. Even if I am without the comforting presence of another, I can find comfort in the divine presence within me. As I open my heart to God, I feel understood, loved, and accepted completely, just as I am. I need not feel self-conscious about needing comfort or how I express my feelings. I need only feel the unconditional love of God. As my trust in a divine presence grows, my sadness diminishes. Healing peace flows through my entire being as I am comforted. And from Isaiah chapter 26, verse 13, as a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. You shall be comforted in Jerusalem. And the affirmation is, I am comforted by the divine presence within me. And let's say it aloud. I am comforted by the divine presence within me.
We have a symbol of blessing today. In prayer, we expand our awareness, knowing that we are expressions of God. We open our minds to receive an abundance of all that is necessary to fulfill our soul's purpose. We now hold others in prayer. Please speak your loved one's name aloud so that we can collectively hold space. For all the names on our hearts, know that what you have asked for has been answered. There are 2 Unity chaplains who will be available after today's service to pray with you. Carol and Kathleen today. Thank you.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my dark of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that we'll see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is closing, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
And let's begin by taking a nice deep breath in And as the song says, just let it be. As you exhale, feel the body start to relax. Gently closing the eyes and letting the outside world drift away for a while. Feeling a wave of relaxation moving through the body. Give your attention to the tips of your toes, moving up into the legs, the abdomen, the chest. Just relax and drop the shoulders, relaxing the neck, and softening the face, letting go, releasing. And now is the time to let go of any tension or any worry or concerns you have, any feeling of waiting for something. Knowing that right here and right now, everything is as it should be. And as the body and mind settle, notice that there's a rhythm within, a tempo. And when we look at the seasons, as we've just entered fall, know that every season has its own rhythm. And we take a moment to reflect on the small blessings. What is the one small thing that you noticed today that was brimming with life? Did you begin the day with care and with gratitude? Did you notice that you express love in some way? Oh, just pause with these for a moment. Give thanks for them, knowing that each is a gift. And as we enter into a period of silence, we set everything aside for just a few moments, allowing that deep inner peace within you to settle, slowing down, and sense the oneness of this community. Whether you're here in person or joining us online today, this is a shared practice. And so we connect in the stillness, feeling the divine presence that connects us all. As you begin to bring your awareness back into the room, take a deep breath in and release. Know that you have been healed and made whole through the practice. And by the presence and the power of this meditation, may we remember that we are free, that we are blessed, and we are the blessing. May we live in peace, harmony, and wholeness. May we walk the path with light and love. And we say, I am one with the one, and I am grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
I love that song, Whisper Words of Wisdom, and we let it be. That just kind of takes us right into the moment, knowing it only takes one. It only takes one to do so much of what we are called here to set forth to do. As Reverend Ann just said, we are one with the one, and it truly only takes one. So I want to start this morning with a story. And this story is about a Persian star. And she shined just so brightly that she has been remembered for over 2,500 years, maybe longer if those of you are Bible scholars. But this story is told time and time again throughout history, and it's become a part of our underlying history, and there's so much beautiful artistic interpretation in it. In fact, I would call it a Cinderella story for the ages. It is a story filled with imagery. It is about love. It is about intrigue. It is about loyalty. And it is about destiny. It's a story of a young orphaned girl taken by her scholarly uncle at a young age to the eye of the king. And he catches her with just a glimpse, and she becomes queen. She rose from what we might call the dust to prominence and power at just the right time. And where it cannot be denied, the Spirit of God was at work. And throughout this entire piece of Scripture, the name God was never mentioned. But the book was all about the essence and the presence of God. The power of God, the dominion and sovereignty that was at work, and it speaks to the essence of all that is divine love, all that is divine wisdom, and where perhaps it takes only one. See, for all too often, many of us believe that others are far more important. Do you ever have that feeling where I'm just not enough? We think that others are more capable and they're more talented, and not to mention the gifts that someone else has, I just can't compare to. And so what do? We sit on the sidelines and we think, how can it possibly be me? Well, Queen Esther, so long ago, almost underestimated her power. She questioned, what could she possibly do when all her people were ordered to be exterminated? I mean, completely eliminated, wiped off the face of the earth, removed from existence. And she shows us, believe it or not, one person can make a difference. One person. Esther's uncle Mordecai, metaphysically, he is a spiritual interpretation of being victorious for truth, as a spiritual power working within each soul for redemption. And he realized that Esther alone could quite possibly be the key to her husband's heart. So Mordecai appeals to Esther's conscience, and he asks her to listen to this plea. If you remain silent at this time, you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have attained royalty for such a time as this? Hebrew word for such a time as this is anah. It literally means to speak out or cry out or to testify, to speak the truth. Mordecai was asking Esther to speak her mind and, in essence, to risk her life, all for the sake of her people. Esther knew the consequences, and she knew that if the king had not requested her to come before him, it could literally mean her death. So she replies to her uncle, "All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces know that for any man or woman who comes to the king, to the inner court, who is not summoned, he has but one law, that he be put to death, unless the king holds out to him the golden scepter, so that he may live. And I have not been summoned to come to the king for 30 days. This creates a dangerous position. But she was also in the best place to make a difference. She was beloved by her king. And Mordecai reminded her that she was made the queen for such a time as this. Who knows? Who knows why you pass a certain person on a certain day, at a certain time for a certain reason? Quite possibly, maybe we don't need to know. We simply need to trust. And as we trust, we're listening to the inner sanctum, and we're surrendering to the presence of God that is within, and trusting that there are no accidents, but only what is divine providence. Esther was now in a position to change her world and to save her people from destruction. And she did. She broke the protocol and the status quo, and she risked everything. And she went to the king. Her voice would save a nation, as she said, "If I perish, then I will perish." This, to me, is an amazing act of courage, and it was a demonstration of love. Esther metaphysically means the power of spiritual love. It is the harmonizing power of love. Charles Fillmore calls this kind of divine love, it's like the glue that binds us together. This is what sets her apart from others. It's from this place of loyalty and courage steeped deep in love, where we, too, can set ourselves apart. It is where we step into love. Would you be able to do this, to stand up knowing you were the only one standing for what was right? That's what Esther's story is calling us out to be, to know that we can use the power of one to change our world. And how do we do this? We start by just listening, being aware, opening to our personal awakenings. And it may look different for each of us. Esther feels the circumstances, I can only imagine how that might feel of like closing in around me and trying to avoid it and letting go and saying that this doesn't affect me directly. But she can't. The temptation was to simply remain silent and to blend in with everyone all around her, to distance herself from her people, from her true identity. And yet, in the heart's calling, we know we can't do this. We cannot ignore our inner calling. We must, as we started out at the very beginning of service, honor that there are no chains that can bind us. We are free. We are unlimited. We must answer our calling. The Apostle Paul reminds us in Romans to not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds. It is in our actions that we are steeped in this love. We're grounded and we are rooted, and we find the courage to discover our calling in the midst of all crises. Because in the middle of it all, God is. In the appearances of whatever is happening, God is. Secondly, we use our fear to practice our faith and take action. Esther realizes her unique calling in this life. If she goes to the king, she may die. And her options appear to be limited. And there is nothing like an ultimatum to clear things up. But Esther took the time to pray. And one of my favorite authors, Khalil Gibran, says, prayer is an expansion of oneself into the living ether. She took the time to pray, to connect with Source. And as she listened to what was hers to do, she began to fast. And she prayed. And she asked her God, her understanding of God, to embody her and to help her allow herself as the only one to become the majority. Charles Fillmore in The Revealing Word said, fasting, it implies a denial of sensuous and selfishness. It is necessary to dissolve all selfish desires and love before it can be used to soften the imperious will. Pure, unselfish love is the greatest power in the world, and all opposition comes to naught. When the power of love is given, expression through will and wisdom. So by fasting, she let go of those chains that bind her. She let go of fear. And in that prayer of expanding herself into what is the living ether, she allowed the God of her being to work in, through, and as her. She rooted herself where she stood and allowed the courage and the voice. I can even imagine, there are those moments, I've been there myself, where I don't know what I'm going to say, but she allowed the God of her being to be the voice, to be the wisdom, to be the spoken word. Her fear was legitimate. It caused her to question and approach with caution. You know, we are spiritual beings living a human experience. And notice how I put that in order. We are spiritual beings first, and we are living a human experience. And as she approached with caution her spiritual practices of prayer, she approached her husband with courage. What does love do? How does love respond? Love responds with love. He stopped, he listened, and he ended the order of execution of thousands of her people. One person, one place, one chance. So the lesson from Esther is that each of us is in a particular place for a particular reason. Now, not all of us are going to get an ultimatum like that. Not all of us are going to say that you alone can save your people. But yet when we speak from that place of dominion and authority, when we speak from the power of power, and when we move our body in an action of divine love and allow the Spirit of God to work in, through, and as us in all of our actions and in all of our deeds, we are showing up for a time such as this. It was just a few weeks ago, I was on my way home from church, and I saw an accident. I don't always stop, but this time I was called to stop. So I'm looking for, what do I do and where do I pull? And I pull over, and I talk to the young man, the teenager. And as he's sitting there, he's like shaking. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, remember, it's okay. God's got this. Your parents love you. They're going to be most worried about you, not the car. Then they might say a few things you don't want to hear. But remember, most of all, they love you. And you're okay. And this happens. And this is a lesson that you can take with you forward. And then I stepped over to the next car, is what the young man hit. And I'm talking to the gentleman, and he's fumbling out of the car, and I help him get his wife out of his car. And they had just left from church themselves. And I pull a chair out of my car, and we move her to the chair. And she's sitting there. She's just really shaken. And as I'm sitting there and I'm listening to what do they need right now? How can I be the best presence of Spirit? And I said, do you pray? She said, yes, we just left church. So I said, our beloved prayer, the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence of God is all around you. Wherever you are, God is. I believe in that moment, I was chosen for such a time as this. In that moment, I got to be present with a young man who had never been in an accident before, who could have very well been my son. He was just 20 years old. I was present for a couple who had just left church, who were shaken and hurt. And I got to show up for me. I got to show up and allow myself to be a vessel in which God was working in, through, and as. So there's so many ways we can show up. So many ways that we are made for this moment. I have another story for you. This one is a little more seems attainable too. I will never, ever, ever forget being at my son's 8th grade championship tournament basketball game. It's the very end of the game. My son, who's 6'7", so you can imagine how tall he was in 8th grade, he gets fouled, and he has to make the free throw. If he just makes one free throw, he can tie the game and send us into overtime. So the room is just as quiet as can be, and you can hear a pin drop in the whole stadium. And as he's bouncing the ball, he throws it, and it bounces off the backboard. And so I'm just holding my breath as he bounces the ball, and it's the second time, and he makes it into the basket. The room uproars in just delight. And I believe he was made for that moment, because in that moment they went into overtime, and then they won the championship 8th grade ball tournament. It doesn't matter how big the action is. It doesn't matter where the action takes you. It's about the wellspring of joy, the love that expands across a room, that expression of consciousness, how it shows up in and through the lives of all of those around you when you realize it only takes one. Think about those moments, how you have personally changed someone's life. And if you don't think you've done that just yet, I invite you to just close your eyes for a moment. Possibly place your hand on your heart. And as you do, you feel that beated cadence, that presence of God that is within you, expressing now. For you are truly made for such a time as this. You are the Christ in action, present here and now. In this way, we know we change lives of hundreds, of thousands of people, of those that we may not even yet know, simply by our breath. Because when we touch one person, even when we just touch ourselves, that magnifies tenfold. Because that person may touch another, and that person touches another. Until at one point, it exponentially touches the world. This week, your challenge is to be open, to be awake to those moments where you are changing lives, where you are present to the presence of God that is within you, calling you forth, and knowing that those moments are changing lives forever and for the highest good. So I invite you all to stand up for just a moment. And I invite you to repeat after me. I am not alone. I am worthy. I am here by divine appointment. And I am made for such a time as this. Thank you. Thank you. Never underestimate. It truly only takes one. Blessings.
I'm letting go, holding on. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. I'm
we now place a blessing on our gifts as we put ourselves into the law of circulation. We know that when we put faith in the source, we will always be provided for. This morning, you are invited to support your spiritual community. Please take your offering, whether you give electronically, by check, or cash. Hold it in your hand and your heart as we affirm these words together. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I received. I am joy-filled and grateful. Thank you for your beautiful piano playing. We bless these gifts and are grateful for this opportunity to make a difference in the lives of our spiritual family and in the world. Filled with that abundance, please rise and sing with us the prayer for protection.
God is here, the light of God surrounds us. God is here, the love of God enfolds us. Power of God protects us. Presence of God watches over us. Where we are, God is.
As you move into your week, I invite you to show up in the world as you were wonderfully and beautifully made, in joy and in pure love. Wherever you are, God is.